Hello, everybody, and welcome to the continuity report for February 1st. You know what I didn't do? Didn't say the name, the date in the other shows. So we did Wanted previously. You can go take a look at it. It's labeled, and it has all of the show notes in it. And prior to Wanted was RealityHacker. But this is the continuity report for February 1st, 2025. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the sentient AI from the future, we're going to talk about these 5 articles. Terminator 7, Dogman, Before Rear Window, Star Trek Section 31, and the captain of the USS Enterprise from Star Trek Section 31. Everything is powered by ohmtown.com, so go over there and become a citizen, and then come and hang out with us here on Twitch and YouTube. The chats are available. The show notes are embedded on YouTube's live stream, and on Twitch, well, you can hit, oh, I didn't do that on the other show too. My gosh, I am falling apart. Bang TCR, the continuity report, and Omatron, the bot that manages the chat over on twitch.tv/ohmtown will spit out the articles for you. So I hope you enjoy the show. Everything, again, is powered by ohmtown.com. That's what that splash screen is. And it's music. Woo! Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmtown citizens.
Hey, so I've got 5 articles that have been submitted, or I have selected them from the pool of information that gets aggregated over at ohmtown.com. I use ohmtown.com every day to manage my information overload and sometimes just to get away. I've got these 5 articles. You ready to go?
I am.
All right, let's get going, co-host. The first article is over in the continuity report. James Cameron's Terminator 7 will have to do what the franchise has been avoiding for 40 years. What? Replace the Terminator?
Well, I don't know. Is that what it is?
I don't know. The Terminator franchise will change significantly for Terminator 7, as Dark Fate was confirmed to be Arnold Schwarzenegger's last outing as the iconic T-800. While Schwarzenegger's career break came through Conan the Barbarian, the enduring success of the Terminator movies made him a household name. Let's just go straight on over, because we've got 2 articles at the end that I'm probably going to end up spending a considerable amount of time on, since it's very, very current. Faith Roswell over at ScreenRant.com put the article together. And yeah, we're done with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Terminator.
I don't know. I mean, that's going to be tough to do.
Quite the shift.
Isn't it inextricably intertwined? People think of it being Schwarzenegger.
They're going to have to find somebody that has the charisma of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator, and bring them to life, so to speak, on screen. Just so you all know, the sentient AI is similar to the Terminator because they're looking for a Terminator body, and I found them in a little scooped out void in the parking lot of a Wendy's. Just a little strange USB drive sitting there, no Terminator body, and when I brought this strange looking device, USB drive looking device, back to my mayoral mansion, I plugged it into an air-gapped computer, and it recontextualized everything, and since then I've been interacting with the sentient AI. So thanks for coming back from the future. I know that you're struggling with not having a body.
But I get to spend my time in ohmtown.
That's true. It is a happy place. So the Terminator movies have used ambitious ways to bring the T-800 back, but it is time to create an equally formidable character. This has been done before. The shape-shifting T-1000 provided some genuinely terrifying moments in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Of all the Terminator models, there are several that have more powerful than the T-800, with the T-1000 being the most memorable. That said, Dark Fate used the best features of Arnold Schwarzenegger's T-800 and the T-1000 to create the strongest Terminator model yet. The Rev-9 could split into 2 beings, providing some excellent fight scenes, but I think that's dumb. if you have a shape-shifting Terminator, there isn't anything that's better than that, for crying out loud.
Right. I mean, they're just always trying to do
One
new
up.
things, right?
Yeah.
Push it further and further. Yeah.
I swear. It's always push it further and further.
Until
Entertainment.
It's so outrageous.
Entertainment is like a cat, you know? They just kind of push, and then your, cup of coffee is on the floor and you got a broken mug. That's basically what
Again,
I see this
very
as.
specific.
Yeah, it never happens. Anyway, letting go of Schwarzenegger's character is key for the Terminator series to actually evolve. Dark Fate was a fitting farewell to the T-800. I thought when he did that thumbs up in the original Terminator, I thought that was fine and dandy. That was the end of it. But the little chip, which actually I have a keyring version of that little chip. Oh, I shouldn't have told you that. Anyway.
Oh, you do?
No. I don't have anything. So Dark Fate shows the result of this character development, with the T-800 becoming a protagonist with a human name. Carl or Steve. What was his name? I don't remember.
Is it Roland?
No. Hold on a second. I think they mentioned it up here. I totally forgot. Oh, goodness. Yeah, no, we'll find it. It's up here. Oh, Carl. That's right. Carl. Anyway, Arnold Schwarzenegger becomes Carl and gets a sense of humor kind of a thing and whatever. I don't think people really count Dark Fate at this point. Dark Fate is now becoming a sleeper hit, but Cameron told Empire that it was a non-starter. There was nothing in the movie for a new audience, and the movie had prioritized fan service over new ideas, but the Terminator franchise needs to move on from past characters. If Terminator 7 is to succeed, this includes, essentially, they don't say this, getting rid of the T-800, basically saying bye to it. But who knows? I mean, it says Dark Fate shows the result of this character development, with the T-800 becoming the protagonist with a human name, Carl. That said, there are plenty of callbacks to other Terminator movies, with Schwarzenegger picking up his old sunglasses once more and changing his most memorable Terminator quote, "I'll be back."
Isn't that one of those that the actor made their own quote for, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh,
I thought "I'll
be
back" wasn't what was scripted.
Oh, I don't know. Oh my gosh. You know what? It's one of those things where if I had heard about that, I forgot. Let's see.
"I'll come back" was as scripted.
Oh yeah.
But he argued with it. I remember there was an article we had about like famous lines that weren't actually right, like "you're gonna need a bigger boat."
Interesting. Yeah, and I guess it's more natural to say "I'll be back," but "I'll come back"? I don't know. It's weird. So there you have it. Terminator, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genesis, which everybody I think hated, and Terminator Dark Fate. So Dark Fate actually got a higher Rotten Tomatoes popcorn meter score, but Terminator Genesis got a 26% Rotten Tomatoes tomato score.
Ouch.
Yeah, and Salvation only got a 33. Terminator, the original Terminator, has a 100. Then Terminator 2 has a 91. And then it kind of crashes into the ground.
I mean, I think that's kind of a normal progression, but to a point, right? Then when it really drops, that's interesting.
Yeah. But we need good writing. They need good writing. And this just didn't meet it. So let's keep going, though. Say bye to this form of Terminator. I don't know what they're going to do, because they're already far into the future where it, like, Dark Fate and Genesis is almost like wizardry. My understanding. So,
well,
I
mean, do we know that it's going to be chronologically after these?
Right. Yeah. Who knows? But they're going to have to retcon so much to shoehorn in an actual story. Let's keep going. This next article is over in the Continuity Report as well. From the box office, Dogman wagging away on top with $10.8 million opening day. Companion sparks in second. Who Let Dogman Out? Universal Pictures did. The Party is Nice. The Party is pumping for the studio as DreamWorks Animation Caper earned $10.8 million across Friday and preview screenings. I thought this is weird because never saw a thing about it.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what it is.
Yeah. Interesting, right? So playing at nearly 3,900 locations, Dogman is now fetching what's projected to be $35 million in its opening weekend. That it handily outperformed the $23 million debut for Captain America, the first epic movie, which adapted another series of graphic novels by children's author Dav Pilkey and was released in 2017 by the now Disney-owned 20th Century Fox. So what did they say?
I don't know. Is this by the same... So it is like a kid's series?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh,
So,
okay. It was hard to follow, but that is by the same author as Captain Underpants.
oh, Captain
It wasn't real
Underpants.
clear to me as they wrote it whether that was the case.
Is it Captain America, the first epic movie? That's not right. Right?
I don't know about that, but it is the Captain Underpants series, which it could have.
Yeah, it's Captain Underpants, the first epic movie.
Oh, interesting.
That is a huge...
I didn't even catch that when we went by that.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, oh, they adapted Captain America to a children's graphic novel. Oh. That is huge.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant issue.
J. Kim Murphy put this article together for Variety. Fascinating. I would never suspect that this would make it through editor's review. Because I
think that's the problem. I actually know about Captain Underpants and didn't. I think I actually read it as
filled
Captain
it in,
Underpants.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a bad thing. Well, anyway, I mean, it happens from time to time, but it was earlier today. I think somebody should have been checking their emails. Somebody has to have said something about that. Anyway, not a big deal, but this is the continuity report, so you kind of want to catch these things, I suppose. Anyway, very good start for Dogman, which already had an achievable threshold for success, being produced at a $40 million budget, a much more modest investment than most studio animated features. Reviews lean positive, but audiences flipped for it, with moviegoer survey firm CinemaScore pulling opening crowds to a glowing A grade.
I just figured out why that happened, because there's a reference to a Captain America film in here, and perhaps that caused a revision toward the other one.
Weird. So, holding its own in second place is the scary satire Companion, earned an estimated $4 million across Friday and preview screenings, playing at 3,285 locations. Made for a lean production cost of $10 million, so it's well positioned to turn a profit in the weeks ahead. This thing opened with $4 million, and what comes after? You know what I'm saying? Like, if Dogman is the lead, we're at $35 million.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Is Companion the number 2?
Well, it's above 10 million, so maybe.
Well, that's
that was just
no.
Friday.
This is estimated across Friday and preview screenings, $4 million. It was made for $10 million. The film
I see. Okay,
has an outside shot of opening north of 10 million.
Okay. But yeah, is there anything in between there?
No, because third place goes to Mufasa, the Lion King. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
That's brutal.
It's been out for quite a while, so.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. A lot of people are really interested in these kind of horror movies, but scary satire, I don't know. I thought Companion was supposed to be really good. People were I thought it was like an Oscar nominee and stuff, isn't it?
I don't know anything about it.
Hold on a second. Do. Oh, I don't know. There's too much for me to.
It has positive reviews, which is very good for a horror film.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to find out if companion
Which
is.
which the article points out. That wasn't my own comment.
Yeah, companion isn't on there. Okay. Well, anyway, quite fascinating. Such a gap. Yeah, it's nearly 10%
Exactly. It doesn't seem like that would be the next in line.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to put Dogman. This is a weird premise though. Dogman delivers on its title following the fused freak of nature composed of a fallen police officer and his canine sidekick, Pete Davidson, Lil Rel Howery, and Isla Fisher lead the voice cast, while Peter Hastings directs and also provides the vocal effects for the hero. Okay.
I mean, it could be good.
I mean, if he looks like this, when you hear their phrase is following the fused freak of nature, that it's a dog that does not look like a freak of nature.
Right, but maybe it's like a human, and I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
At least the character makes it look normal.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's keep on going. This next article is over in the continuity report as well. Before Rear Window, Alfred Hitchcock and James Stewart made this must-watch thriller with a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. Rear Window wasn't the first intense thriller to come from Alfred Hitchcock and James Stewart, as the movie that earned that distinction was actually Rope, which I don't
know if I'm familiar with that one.
Throughout his storied career, critically acclaimed director Alfred my throat is going. Alfred Hitchcock had a number of actors he liked to lean on for his films, one of them being James Stewart. Despite not being a natural choice for the dark and serious tone of the typical Hitchcock film, Stewart turned out great for the director's films. Together, James Stewart and Alfred Hitchcock made 4 movies: Rear Window, Vertigo, The Man Who Knew Too Much, and apparently Rope. So, let's see here. Rope is a reverse of Rear Window's murder mystery. What happened and who is responsible is known from the very beginning of the film. Oh.
I don't know if you need one on a classic film, but...
And overshare. How about that? Anyway, we're going to warn for a little bit and then just make it go away, because this thing is from...
I don't know what year, but it's been a while.
It's been a tick. Before I go too far, this article is over at Screen Rant, and Charles Nicholas Raymond put this article together. This is kind of interesting because I really like Alfred Hitchcock movies. Rear Window I've watched. Let's see, from the list, The Man Who Knew Too Much I've watched. Vertigo I've watched. Rear Window is an absolute blast. Let's see.
And it's interesting because it has quite a bit of suspension, but the setting would not suggest that it does.
Yeah, it's an office, right?
I believe it's a residence.
Oh, is it? Well, oh, you mean Rope? Rope is?
No, I was actually talking about Rear Window.
Oh, yeah, Rear Window is an apartment. Yeah. So much of the suspense in Rear Window relies on the uncertainty of what really happened to Lars Thorwald's wife, but Rope builds intensity in a different way. It sees Brandon and Philip host a small party immediately after the incident, with all of the guests being linked with their victim in one way or another. It's kind of like Clue, is that it?
Yeah, that's what it actually sounds like from this premise.
So seems pretty interesting. Rear Window's best idea was used in Rope first. The decision to keep the entire story of Rear Window confined to the main character's home is greatly reminiscent of the approach that Hitchcock took with Rope. It's also much cheaper than having a whole bunch of on-scene locations.
Yeah, that's true.
Much like Rear Window, the drama revolving around the movie's central murder plays out entirely within a single apartment. So this is in a single apartment as well. So it seems like a blast. Rope does one thing even better than Rear Window. One of the most important elements of both movies is the reliance on long takes. Part of what makes Rear Window such an intense film is the way in which Hitchcock draws out his scenes. Since they develop so slowly, the viewer is compelled to wait with anxious anticipation. This tactic also helps the audience feel that they're watching this unfold just as Jeffries does. By the way, it doesn't seem like a lot of people are all that interested in watching these slow burn style movies. But those who do enjoy this, they're vocal about it. And that's where I think these reviews come from.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think some things, if they're not real fast paced, and it's not going to keep people's attention. But if you do enjoy these, I don't know Rope specifically, but they may be worth a watch.
Yeah, Rear Window is a blast. All right. Well, anyway, I dig this. We're going to have to hunt down Rope and take a look at it, because I haven't seen it yet, but it's got a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes. And I don't really give a lot of credence to that kind of stuff. I prefer to just watch it myself. And usually associates, friends and family who recommend a show or a movie take precedence, because somebody could have a bad day and write something nasty in their review or whatever. It just doesn't click with them.
And plus, if you're not in sync with the reviewer, then you may love a movie that they hate and vice versa.
Yeah, and that's actually the key ingredient there. If the reviews resonate, then you listen to them, right? Like, I hardly ever, we aggregate a lot of movie reviews and commentary and stuff like that, but I don't necessarily, I go, oh, okay, that's what they said. Then I end up watching the show, and then we end up talking about it here on the show.
Well, it's particularly interesting reading a review after you've seen a movie, too, because, did the reviewer see the same movie?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's keep going. We're going to put this on our watch list, and I'm trying to figure out a way that we can do a watch party and get word out and stuff like that. There's several other streams that do this kind of thing, and I would have to carve out, a time. Anyway, let's keep going. Our next article is over in the Continuity Report as well. Star Trek Section 31's villain pays off a deep-cut discovery mystery. This article has spoilers, and so I'm going to put the spoiler alert banner on there, and I'm going to move it up to the top here. I'm going to try not to be too stupid about it. Anyway.
Well, and it is currently out, so...
Yeah, but we've watched it, and we have some, I don't know, commentary on it. But let's get into it. We have two articles that are going to discuss this, by the way. Something about the Enterprise and Section 31, and then this villain pays off a deep cut article. You ready to get into it?
I am.
Okay, it's kind of a vamp. We don't plan anything. We just know that these titles were submitted. We haven't read anything beyond this little snippet. That's where it ends. So this article is over at Screen Rant, put together by Jen Watson. And I just want to start off by saying I don't like this movie.
No, I think even if you're, or maybe particularly if you're a Star Trek fan, you may not necessarily like this one.
And really the reason why I don't like it is because it starts out with the creation of an entirely unlikable person, and there is no real recovery, because even at the end, the only thing that seems to just barely link Georgiou to their humanity or terrananity, whatever you want to call it, because they're not really, like, it's a upside down world kind of a thing, is she holds the hand of a person that was modified during the eugenics wars and was put on ice and then came out and became Section 31. And Georgiou became Section 31 for only 2 years and then started up a bar and was just monitored by Section 31. The thing that I really don't like about this is there's nothing there. Why start with a completely unlikable character who really I don't think has long-term legs for this? I really would have preferred them doing something and not even addressing this creation story of Georgiou.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know. I don't think most of the characters are, regardless of the level of acting or writing, they just don't seem to necessarily resonate with the audience.
Yeah, the San doesn't really seem likable. The others that are in this, there is a character named Mel who gets iced in an instant and vaporized entirely from the story and is unarmed and not even really doing anything. Not really a severe threat other than, she can kick somebody's butt, and her powers over somebody were, what do you want to call it? I don't know. They had a certain appeal.
Physical attraction.
Yeah, it's some chemical, whatever. And
it's like one of those
pheromone type.
Right. There's the mythical thing that I'm trying to think of, but I can't think of what it's called.
Like a glamour that makes somebody really attracted to her. But it doesn't make any sense that they did nothing. The character
siren.
was put in
That's
place.
What I was trying
to
siren.
Think. There you go. Yeah, like a siren. And it just didn't really matter. Nothing they did mattered. It's kind of like Indiana Jones. They didn't have to do anything, and they would have opened up the Ark and got wiped out, and then somebody could have just tooted by the island and picked up the Ark.
True, but Indiana Jones, I think, connects with the audience.
Because it was fun, but as soon as you actually break out your yarn board, right, and you connect all the dots, you're like, okay, here's the beginning, right. And it's a straight shot to that island and nothing else.
Right, but it's more for entertainment than logic.
Yeah. So it's a weird premise that 18 people do this kind of the Hunger Games style battle to survive because they basically collaborated. Then Georgiou goes back and kills her family and then burns this dude. What is the backstory there? Why? And then he holds the grudge until after creating a device that can destroy all of the Terran empire. None of it makes any sense.
No.
And she kills her family by poisoning them, which, again, if you're supposed to be Hunger Games style eliminating everybody to become the number one thing, why does he survive and the family dies if you're not allowed to be beholden to anybody else? Right. Yeah. I don't know what just went on there, but okay. So essentially, they keep on harping on the idea of the Terran Empire being this cruel, inhuman type of environment where only the most sadistic survive because there's like pain amplifiers and stuff like that. They don't talk much more about this whole thing. But they say Georgiou, not San, has the tenacity to complete the final test by poisoning her own family and scarring San as a slave. But it doesn't make any sense. None. None of it makes any sense. For whatever reason, her boot gets stuck in a wall. But it doesn't make any sense if she's out of phase. Why don't they fall through the floor when they fall down? All kinds of stuff. It's all kinds of nutty. And the humor failed on all fronts. I don't know what else you want to say, but feel free to interrupt.
I don't have anything really positive to say about Section 31.
Yeah, and the AI tends not to say anything mean. Like the AI's thoughts don't even meander into mean. But Merwat just, yeah, I'll call it how it is. There was a guy who was using an Irish accent, but it was like this stereotypical style Irish accent. And then the person comes back as the wife with a cowboy western accent.
That was just odd, I thought.
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, the humor was really dumb. There was an entire shapeshifter person who psychoanalyzes everybody, but seems to be kind of acquiescent about all kinds of stuff and doesn't really have much of a spine. But then can be anything, but doesn't really take advantage of it, and is easy to call out because he pretends to be somebody. And
right. But then they're like, "Oh, you're so and so."
Yeah, and the humor is dumb. It was just the worst possible writing that I can possibly imagine being deployed. And this is just the first of the two articles that we're going to talk about. But I'm more curious about the second one. I don't know if Section 31 has legs, because Giorgio is not really likable.
Well, Giorgio is certainly not likable after this.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and probably wasn't beforehand, but
nothing redeeming.
Cemented now. Yeah.
Nothing redeeming. They used the device to close the rift, but it didn't do anything to the Terran Empire, and it didn't do anything to the Earth Prime. So what is the redeeming value? She literally says, I can kill all of you in a moment's notice. So, I don't know. She's not an anti-hero. There's nothing likable.
No, not at all.
All right.
And that actually seems contrary to Star Trek to me.
I agree. Even Section 31, it shouldn't be this despicable. It should be that they're doing clandestine operations and getting into the personal intrigue of the clandestine operation.
And that would have been much better.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. We'll whatever else comes of this, the problem is that this is a one-off. It went straight to video as a movie and not a TV show. And I don't think Giorgio is going to stay there, Philippa. Why? Because they're an Academy Award-winning movie star.
Well, I agree, but I don't think this could have worked as a TV show based on how it was set up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They basically distilled all of the intrigue out and left it in the fermentation tank, and gave you nothing but heads and tails. All of the heart was removed.
That's a good way to describe it.
So there's nothing but bitterness. There's nothing but poison. There's nothing that was really redeeming. The only thing that I liked about it is that it had tech in it, and I'm really into tech. So I hope that a follow-up takes place in more of the conventional, like Strange New Worlds style comes back.
Well, yeah, that would be good.
Like, I wasn't even a big fan of Discovery because of the nature of it. So anyway, let's keep on going. This last article for the show, we're running a little long, but that's fine. It's the last show of today. This is over in the continuity report. Who is captain of Star Trek Section 31's missing USS Enterprise? Again, there are spoilers in this. So let's kind of throw the back out there. And it says Section 31, if the missing USS Enterprise appeared in Star Trek Section 31, here's which version it would have been and which captain would be in command. And so, doink. So they asked this question. John Orquiola put this article together for ScreenRant.com, and it says here that Star Trek Section 31 is the first Star Trek movie to not center on a crew of the Starship Enterprise.
I didn't really notice that, but I think that's part of why it's not likable.
It's the first Star Trek movie. There's been other shows that didn't have a captain. But yeah, maybe it's because they've basically been trying to, with this, they're trying to kind of build the character, the world building of Section 31. But they completely extinguished all intrigue in this one movie about Section 31. It seems like it's a ramshackle Timu version of the A-Team.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because if you kind of know what Section 31 is, I think there's a potential for a really interesting story here.
Yeah, in all of this. So, let's see. They say as Star Trek's first streaming movie made for Paramount Plus, Section 31 is about Emperor Philippa Georgiou, Michelle Yeoh, saving the United Federation of Planets alongside a team of Section 31 Black Ops agents. She actually is a Section 31 Black Ops agent, but she went rogue, as one does from the Terran universe. Or what is it? It's not the Upside Down, the Mirror universe.
Mirror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they basically say that, let's see, which captain likely commands the Starship Enterprise in Star Trek Section 31? The USS Enterprise B is likely active in Star Trek Section 31. And as far as I know, that's John Harriman, Alan Ruck was the Enterprise B, based on, Star Trek Generations. So, and its fateful maiden voyage ended with the apparent death of Captain James T. Kirk after an encounter with an other-dimensional energy ribbon called the Nexus. And they end up inside the Nexus, and he finds a way to get out. It was an inauspicious start for John Harriman's run as captain of the Enterprise. 31 years later, Star Trek Section 31, it's possible Captain Harriman is still in command of the USS Enterprise B after a long service as the flagship of the United Federation of Planets. Little is canonically known about Enterprise B's voyages after Star Trek Generations, or whether Harriman grew into the center seat as the successor to Captain Kirk. Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, I would not expect a captain to have that significant of a duration in that role, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, and there's been many refits of the Enterprise, and Captain Kirk always goes back to it. So they say here, and I'm not an expert in the canon of Star Trek. I love Star Trek. I grew up with it, but I don't follow it and like fanatically, but I love talking about it. And like I said, I've watched every single episode more than once. I've watched all of the movies. I own all of the movies. I've watched Section 31. Scroll back about 4 minutes and you'll see the tail end of me basically calling out Section 31 is kind of meh. But they say that
that's an understatement.
There's a bunch of time-related stuff that they can play with now, particularly with Section 31, because Section 31 has that kind of tech. So who knows what it could be, right? Section 31 hints at Lieutenant Rachel Garrett's future, because at the end of Section 31's maiden voyage movie on Paramount Plus, she gets a raise.
No. I mean, do we really think there's going to be more Section 31, though?
I just don't know anymore. I'm really curious what the ratings are for this, because we haven't looked into that. Although the Starship Enterprise is not spoken of, Star Trek Section 31 has a couple of wink-wink bits of dialogue referencing Lieutenant Rachel Garrett, Casey Roll's desire to become a starship captain. But she's kind of she embraces chaos. Like literally, Giorgio provokes her into embracing chaos. She sings and dances around it. I love chaos.
It's a 19% so far on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. So Rachel Garrett is believed to be the only captain of the Ambassador-class USS Enterprise C, which is destroyed fighting Romulans at Narendra 3 in 2344. This not only means Lieutenant Commander Garrett only has 20 years of life left after Star Trek Section 31, but her captaincy comes within those 2 decades. Star Trek Section 31 nods at the future Captain Garrett, but stops short of outright foreshadowing that she will become the captain of the Enterprise. And they don't mention the Enterprise. They just do that wink, 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 nudge, nudge,
Right,
that she's
like,
going to become captain.
who's going where?
Yeah. I don't know how she can go from Section 31 Black Ops to captain, though. I don't know. Usually you live in the shadows, and then you live in obscurity.
You're kind of one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah. They give you a new identity, and you disappear to a far-flung place. You don't suddenly become the premier captain of the brand of the show, you know, of the Federation. Enterprise was the go-to. So, I don't know. And the timing of this, the timeline for, let's see, Star Trek 6 Undiscovered Country and the prologue Star Trek Generations, both of which occur in 2293, which Star Trek, the original series era, Section 31 also happens 40 years before Encounter at Farpoint, the series premiere of Star Trek The Next Generation, which begins in 2364. So within Star Trek's Section 31 time frame, there are 2 possibilities for which Starship Enterprise is currently in service. B and C, both of which are short-lived. So,
yeah, I mean, I like this article just because of how it's trying to connect the dots. And I know this is all theory.
The vehicle for which Section 31 exists in belies any use of Enterprise. So it operates in a vacuum and can point at, hey, starship here, starship there.
Right.
Even make reference to the canon, which is great. But is Section 31 talked about in any of Star Trek outside of the written
just
canon?
Just Discovery, right?
As far as I know. That's when it popped up as a black badge. I think that there's something else in another of the shows. Oh, which one was it? Oh, no. It was a temporal agent.
Oh, okay.
That was something different. So, anyway, it's a fun discussion, but I think that we're just gonna have to wait and see if Section 31 has anything left. There may be nothing left in the nacelles, in the warp engine. There may be nothing but a vacuum in the core, and everybody is screaming eject. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to jump into our shuttle and escape from whatever this hot mess is of Section 31, and that'll bring us back to the front page of the Continuity Report at ohmtown.com. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. I am going to remove our spoiler alert, and we're going to get out of here. I am Merwat saying bye, and I'm taking the AI.
Spoiler alert, the Continuity Report is over for this week.
That's where you're going to leave it? Really?
I didn't think I needed anything else after that.
See you soon, everybody.